to bring.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? They are hopeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
And good afternoon, Radio Cayman Nation, and a very happy Thursday to you. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio Cayman. I am Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Pleased to have joining us today from the Department of Environment, Mr. Tim Austin and Mr. Corey McCoy, and then later in the show, Mr. Dario Rivers from Coca-Cola. Reminder to everyone as well out there in Radio Cayman Nation that we will have a 2 p.m. press conference today. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions and invite you to join the conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-8255. That's 1-800-534-TALK or 949-8037. Or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. Be back with more Talk Today following this very brief disclaimer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and I'm very pleased to have in studio today from the Department of Environment, Mr. Tim Austin and Mr. Corey McCoy. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Ray. Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us, and good afternoon to the listening audience out here.
So before we get into the meat of our show, we're already at December 16th. The year's kind of flown by quite breezily. A bit of an update from yourselves personally before we get into the whole DOE mix. How has your year been overall?
It's been bizarre. I mean, a bizarre 2 years actually. I think I managed to get off the island once for 2 weeks, but it's been really great, really difficult, kind of adjusting to this new idea. But I've been well, so I'm very blessed in that regard. And
what was it like when you were actually off for those 2 weeks? Was the rest of the world kind of in this kind of frenzied state as well?
Well, the travel was pretty difficult. All the kind of box ticking exercises you have to go through. But it wasn't. Weirdly enough, it didn't feel, it didn't feel terrible being away. You didn't feel like COVID was around the corner, even though it was. It seemed that people have gotten a lot more used to it offshore from Cayman. Interesting.
And then as far as 2022, any New Year's resolutions you kind of planned out for yourself?
Be more healthy and run further.
Run further? Was this your big running year for you?
It's a little maintenance I keep doing, so I like to run. I missed the Cayman Islands half marathon this year, the marathon. I wanted, so I'm going to try and make up for that.
Should make up for it this year. And just keep adding on. Yeah. You're one of those crazy guys that run 13.1 miles and smile while you're doing it.
I don't smile, but I try.
You don't smile.
Yeah, I hobble.
You hobble. Don't worry, I walk very slowly. Corey, yourself? How has this year been for you?
It's been for almost 2 years now, very challenging and adjusting to what life throws, Mother Nature throws at you, but I'm happy to still have my health, and a lot of people also that have not been so fortunate.
Very true.
Around the world, actually. And I got off the island for a short stint. I took my daughter to university in the UK.
It's a big step for Dad.
Yeah, it was a bit, as Tim said, bizarre leaving the island, because you almost got used to this, your own corner of this world, living in this bubble, but, nothing lasts forever, and you can't go on like that. But it was encouraging to see that, the rest of the world sort of have been adjusting and learning to live with it and getting on with life.
Sure.
So,
how's your daughter found being away at school, and the dynamic between you being here in Cayman and her being off at school?
She's adjusted very well.
Okay.
She's sort of wanted her own time and space, I guess,
Comes a time for all of us, right?
Yeah.
Gotta break away from mom and dad.
All kids grow up at some point.
Sure.
She's happy and doing well, and I'm very
Good
happy for her.
Congratulations. And then as far as next year, are you going to copy Tim and tag on 13.1 miles a week?
Not with the running challenge of it, but, I focus on my health and I guess my happiness with what Mother Nature throws at us and get on with life.
Good for you. I love that attitude. It's great. I wish, if everyone had that attitude of just self-fulfillment and building yourself up, I think the world would be a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Suited in the process, right? Thank you, though. I appreciate you guys being generous with your sharing. Well, let's jump into today's conversation, DOE, and how things have progressed throughout this year and what we can see coming up in the near future. Tim?
Yeah, I mean, the COVID challenges have been pretty hard in terms on the department,
Sure.
adjusting to that. But we have adapted to it, working remotely and getting on. We also had an enormous challenge, which I'm sure most of the listeners will have heard about already, which is the introduction of this devastating stony coral tissue loss disease, which is ravaging reefs around the Caribbean, starting out in Florida. I'm really taking a lot of the department's resources. We're thankful to a team and to R3 and people that have helped fund an emergency response effort. And we're pushing forward with that, but we're really still just on the brink of what we think will be a really devastating impact to the reefs. So yeah, we're looking to see how that goes. So that's not been good news. But we've had other successes. The marine park, the enhanced marine parks came into effect in April. We've been busy getting the message out about those and putting out the new boundary markers and all of the other infrastructure that's required to go along with it.
Sure.
So yeah, it's been a very productive year in terms of getting things done. But as usual, it's fighting fires that need fighting. So
it almost seems like you're not by choice, but always behind the ball. You're always trying to play catch up to what nature's kind of throwing at you. You bring up the stony coral there for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it showed up, and all of a sudden it's fire drill moment, and you're scrambling for any information. Because we interviewed DOE earlier this year about it, when it had just kind of started to turn around West Bay and it was working its way down. And is there any progress? Is there any good news you can share along those lines?
Well, Croy could probably talk a lot more about this, but I'm happy to say we are seeing an impact from the disease, but we're also able to show that we can make a difference with the approaches that we're using, which is basically using antibiotics and hard work getting down there. So we are seeing a difference. Croy may have a lot to add to that because he's on the front line daily with it.
I'd love to hear more about it, because I remember when we talked about last time, there was
we've been dealing with it since about 16 months now, and
wow.
And it's we've been operating with sharing information with all the overseas territories, and it was a group of us with the JNCC out of the UK and NOAA and collaborative, and to, like I say, share information on best practices as we confront this disease. A bit like I guess like COVID, in the sense that as we research and discover more about it, we apply those principles
Sure.
in an effort to mitigate this disease on our reefs, because it's going to have far-reaching economic the social consequences down the road, as we see in as it plays out in Florida, who's been dealing with it 8 years. However, we've also built a pretty large research team with our institutions in the U.S. and other overseas territories and stuff that we are hoping for 2022 to have some deeper depth and knowledge of the virology, the pathology of the disease, and that will further give us insight on how do we deal and treat with it.
So for those listeners who may not have been aware when we had the segments previously, can you very briefly walk us through the stony coral, what this actually has done to our current reef system? Because it doesn't attack all corals, it's specifically targeting certain corals.
It's, I used to say attacking, it's infecting the major reef builders. So the structures that you see out in the reef that we appreciate, whether you're a snorkeler, diver, and stuff, and it's a rapid, it's highly infectious, and it moves pretty fast, meaning it will kill a coral, depending on the size of it, from days to a few weeks, sometimes months. And it's over 20 species, upwards of 25 species infected by this disease. And there's highly susceptible species. Unfortunately, some of them are the rarest you find in the Caribbean, such as the pillar coral. And again, the big reef builders. And the fact that there's almost no way to really stop it outside of mitigating factors, as Tim mentioned, with antibiotic treatment. We've tried many, a plethora of stuff in the region, and that's the only one thing that we know that works. And having said that, we sort of are focusing a little bit more now on the larger colonies, which are highly reproductive, I guess you could say, highly fecund, and in hope that we save those corals, and for the next reproductive cycle, which is the end of next year for most corals of that.
The end of 2022.
Yeah, they spawn then.
They spawn then.
Yeah, all the corals in the region, they all spawn at the same time.
Which is not in itself. It's kind of impressive, that's all.
Yeah.
The universe said, hey, today's going to be the day.
Yeah, it's well documented. They got some mechanism that they time it themselves for fertilization success.
We pretend to be as smart as nature. We're nowhere close.
No, we're just scuffing the boundary of the top of that.
Absolutely correct.
It's been going on for thousands of years.
So you mentioned that antibiotic syndrome. I don't want to take the conversation too much away from the marine parks, but really quickly with that antibiotic, is it reversing it, or is it simply just stopping the spread of stony coral at that point? Or are you still doing the research to see?
It stops the lesion.
Okay.
Stony coral disease can be focal and multifocal, popping up different areas on the infected coral. And when you apply that progression of the disease ceases.
Okay.
One positive point about it is on our last survey a couple months ago, it's not in the sister islands, and we've been doing our endeavor best to keep it out of there with disinfecting, making the public aware that they can be one of the vectors in it, or carriers.
Sure. The boats coming across and
boats
dive
and
gear.
dive gear and stuff. So the public has been very receptive with that, and that to disinfect their gear. That because since COVID, we sort of just been traveling between the island a lot more than we normally do.
Makes sense, yes,
as a state holiday. So that has been very effective in, we think, in keeping that out of there. And most recently, we would like to thank the management of Cayman Airways and their crew and stuff. They have implemented, as part of their briefings to passengers, to actually disinfect their gear as a reminder. And as we as we confront this, and what we're trying to do is things that we can control, we will, because there's lots we can't control.
Sure.
I mean,
no, absolutely.
You can't control Mother Nature.
You can't control the currents and
sense,
stuff. You control how people move.
So that has been one of the positive things, I think, moving forward as we move on with confronting this disease.
You know, it's a silver lining, if there is one to be found, is you have not seen it in the sister islands, and just that, the fact that you've been able to keep it away from sites like Bloody Bay Wall and keep it away from all the dive sites you have over there, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's got to be a welcome breath of fresh air. Knock on wood.
Predominantly, they're like we would say bread and butter, but it's the economic pillar of those sister islands.
Correct. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Their coral reefs and their attributes. So.
Absolutely. Anyone that's ever had a chance to see those reefs, it's pristine. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thoroughly amazing. On that note, though, let's go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll actually jump into the marine parks, part of our conversation. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Cash is a must this Christmas!
JN Money Cash Month Christmas.
Send or receive funds with the JN Money this holiday season to win big!
JN Money Cash Month Christmas.
Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years.
So much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
At Tomlinson Furniture, we have great holiday deals to fill each room with presents for just $50 or less. Improve sleep, breathe easier, and relax your mind and body with an assortment of essential oils and pair with the perfect diffuser. Tap into your zen with meditation gold foil candles. Find standalone or pluggable fragrance warmers, wax melts in a range of scents, and reusable wax warmer liners, or opt for a wax melt gift set. Instantly freshen up any space with room and linen sprays. Find these great aromatic gift ideas for just $50 or less at Tomlinson Furniture. Happy holidays and a prosperous New Year to all, from the Tomlinson Furniture family to yours.
Little Cayman residents are being advised that there will be a DEH Bulk Waste One-Day Collection. It's happening today, Thursday, December 16th. For more information on the Little Cayman One-Day Bulk Waste Collection happening today, please call DEH Cayman Brack at 948-2321.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Hey, And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And a quick reminder to the listening public that we will have a 2 p.m. press briefing this afternoon after Talk Today. Again, pleased to have in studio Mr. Tim Austin and Mr. Corey McCoy from the Department of Environment. Gentlemen, again, welcome to the show. Corey, thank you again for sharing before the break the general updates in regards to Stony Coral and where the DOE is pushing their efforts to mitigate what is the COVID of the sea, for lack of a better term.
No, that's very accurate.
We'll take that one. But Tim, let's shift the conversation over to the marine parks and where we're seeing DOE's movement with regards to those.
Okay, so it's been a very long process, as most people will be aware. Cayman has relied on marine protected areas as its kind of primary approach to conservation of natural resources in the island. We were one of the first to have marine parks, along with, I think, Australia and Bonaire were probably just a bit before us. But in 1986, the government had the foresight to introduce marine protected areas, and people lived with those for a long time. There was initially quite a considerable objection to it, but quickly people got on board and realized the benefit of it. So when we came over the years, obviously situations changed. The population grew, new environmental threats became apparent, and the whole focus changed. So we recognized the need to have a review of the parks to see if they were fit for purpose. 2009, we partnered with the University of Bangor, and Croy, with us today, did his PhD to become Dr. Croy McCoy based on the data that went into this. So for the longest time, we looked at the parks and we established that they really were having a useful impact. They were doing their job, but that there were changes occurring that could be mitigated through different approaches, through more particularly an emphasis on fishing pressure, because in the parks around in 1986, fishing pressure was identified, but it wasn't a major factor. So,
Interesting. So what was the factor that drove the 1986 kind of changes?
So, the fish, certainly conserving fish biomass was one of the things. Primarily, it was resources like conch and lobster. So replenishment zones were introduced for conch. People were recognizing that. And then anchor damage was a big part of it. So anchoring in the reefs as part of, general boating and the diving. So they introduced the introduction of all the dive moorings and then rules about where you can't anchor in marine protected areas. And then obviously there were controls of fish gear, fish lines versus spear guns versus nets and fish pots. All of that was then. But so when the park review rolled around this time, we noted through the research we were able to show that fish pressure was quite significant and we needed to be addressed. So a lot of the zones that were primarily for protecting conch, then we had fish have been added to them, so they've become marine reserves. So there's now no more fishing in those zones.
In those zones, period.
Yeah, so there's a big increase in the no fishing areas, and while it's unfortunate that that's the route we have to go, it is it's kind of universal around the world. Fishing pressure is recognised as largely unsustainable, and you need fish to keep the fish there. So the idea between increasing the fishing. No fishing areas is that we have a reserve of fish that then produce fish to go into the unfished areas, and ultimately you can still fish. Generations will be able to keep fishing, but hopefully these areas will also have increased biomass benefiting from the parks, i.e. the fish are spilling over into the areas where you can fish, and fishermen's catches in theory should increase as well. So although there's less areas to fish, in theory it shouldn't impact the total fish that you can catch.
I guess it means you have to go a little further away from shore to do it.
Is
that the case?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the things that was introduced. Prior to April, you could fish practically anywhere from shore around the islands. So that has now been amended. You are no longer able to fish from shore in a marine protected area. So 7 Mile Beach or anywhere where the marine protected area is offshore, you're not allowed to fish there. And we've also extended the contour used to be able to fish from the 80-foot contour, but now it's out to 150 feet. So these actually protect some of the more biodiversity rich areas. So obviously the edge of the wall was a good fishing spot. We kept it at 150 because there are some deep water fisheries that people like to get kind of deep water snappers, and we didn't want to impact that fishery. So that fishing in 150 feet or deeper is allowed, except in some of the grouper spawning areas where it goes out to the 200-foot contour.
So when we say the contour, is that a specific line marker that we or imagine?
Yeah, sorry.
Or is that on like the app?
Yeah, so the contours are basically the depth of water. If it's like a map. You join all the dots at 150 feet. You get a line around the island, and
gotcha.
And that we call that a contour, the 150-foot depth contour. So,
see, the reason why you all do the DOE stuff, and us layman's just don't.
But basically, it's just the depth of water. Yeah.
Sure.
So if it's less than 150 feet and you're in a marine protected area, you can't fish. If it's more than 150 feet of water below you, you can fish.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, and adding to Tim, a marine reserve or marine park is not really defined unless it is a no-take area.
Okay, so that's
one of the factors you have marine parks, as Tim mentioned, is to have you say higher biomass, which is larger, more have your reproductive stock in there. So put it in easy terms, it's like having a bank account and you live off the interest. That's called spillover. That all the fish cannot live in one area, so they move out of the marine parks. And we have strategically placed, for two reasons, around the island to mitigate against factors. Just say we have a catastrophic hurricane, and so before Grand Cayman only had one marine protected area on the west side, basically. Now we have them around a network of them around the island. That works in many ways, in the sense that it allows the spillover effect of fish coming out of there. And you can ask any fisherman from West Bay where they fish off the Northwest Point area there. That's an example of it. I've documented that there since 2009. And as Tim mentioned about the depth contour, one of the factors in that you could visually pick up was the fact that it was along a shallow terrace, which you call a mini wall, in the 30, 40-foot contour. But in a deep terrace, it was absent. I mean, it was, you pick it up, the signal, but it was not really significant. And that was could be attributed to the fact that they allowed to fish the deep terrace around Grand Cayman at the 80-foot contour with an MPA. So, we fixed that by, extending it to 150. Where they can fish there over time, and it would replenish the deep terrace there. But also having a network of them, you have spillover coming from each side into that area that can be fished. And those fished areas are close to the boat launch ramps, channels, and stuff, so that, the fishermen are, mom, pop that takes his kids fishing can have easy access to it. It's less fuel, less effort, and still enjoy. And it guarantees they can go there and catch fish because there's a constant supply over time.
Because that is your spillover spot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
catch them. I'm getting it. Without a visual map, so we kind of like visualize these fish coming in these contour areas.
Yeah. And, it's a best case scenario where you do go fishing and there's ample fish to catch and to enjoy as a sport, as a leisure, and everything else. But it also provides the net benefit of having the mature individuals within the parks supplying that constantly. So it's a scenario that best fits Grand Cayman situation and the Cayman Islands.
Thank you for that. I appreciate the clarity, and for our listeners as well. This just understanding a bit about how that spillover works it helps when you try to justify changes to any of these kind of regulations. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break and come back. We'll be furthering the conversation with the Department of Environment. Back more Talk Today right after this.
The last show for 2021 will be on.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless, eating machine. It will attack and devour anything.
The last show for 2021 will be on sharking, one of our industries.
So we had many industries. The sharking, we'll tell all about it.
Sure.
this Friday on Radio Cayman.
Let us see what I'm saying. Focusing on sharking.
We knew about the turtle industries, we talked about the phosphate industry, but we not talked about sharking industry. And that's what we're going to be talking about this Friday. So join us. Another See What I'm Saying.
Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
This Friday,
12:15 to 2:30.
and we're going to try to sort out everything.
See what I'm saying. Last one for 2021.
Last one.
Sharking.
Join us.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
The technology sector is forecast to be one of the fastest growing industries in the next decade, with more jobs available than skilled people to fill them. Enterprise Cayman is helping to fill this void and grow the next generation of Caymanian innovators, giving young people access to high-quality learning experiences with the opportunity to pursue careers in technology and innovation sectors. Learn to code, how product development works, enter professional competitions, access high-tech resources, network with special economic zone industry professionals, and much, much more. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to find out more. Brought to you by Cayman Enterprise City.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of March, 2022. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you. Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fill up at Jose's Rubis, you're entered to win weekly prize giveaways, plus a grand prize of $20,000 in cash or up to $30,000 to pay next year's bills. Ensure that you are healthy and fit before you visit with family and friends. Reflections offers 2 lateral flow test kits for only $10. The best KN95 masks, $5 for 2. Stylish black surgical masks are only $5 for a pack of 10. Purchase Reflections gift certificates for your loved ones and enter to win the Rubis Pure Joy promotion at Jose's Rubis.
Christmas is in the air as Radio Cayman broadcasts the Jolly Christmas Cheer from the 2021 Coca-Cola Christmas Truck Parade, Monday, December 20th from 5 to 9 p.m. Taste the feeling, Cayman Islands, as we parade with Coca-Cola from West Bay to South Sound. Check out Radio Cayman's Facebook page for the full route. Come out to meet Santa and his elves, toys for the kids, Coca-Cola giveaways, and music for all, Monday, December 20th.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, pleased to have in studio Mr. Tim Austin, Mr. Croy McCoy from the Department of Environment. Always a significant learning experience whenever DOE is in studio, and like the wealth of information you all share is always literally mind-blowing. There's so much that you all are actually dealing with on a regular basis, and the best practices from other regions and trying to mix those into best practices for here in Cayman, and just during the break talking about the currents amongst the islands and how to, tackle the variety of issues that you're talking about under the water. And it's amazing.
Oh yes, I mean it's an incredible system, and there's definitely a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and it reiterates the fact that nature is far smarter than we are. I think it's some of the whole conversation today is we pale so far in comparison to what nature can actually.
That is absolutely correct, and which is why we've concentrated on marine protected areas as the most useful management strategy. If you leave an area to itself, take the man-made stresses off of it, it will do well. Same with stony coral tissue loss disease. We're hoping that if we have a more resilient reef because they are healthier, they don't have, they're already operating as they should do and how they did before humans arrived here. So
that's gets dark very quickly in this conversation.
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah.
But let's jump into the marine parks. I know there's a number of rules, and just to reiterate and reinforce to the community so that there's no confusion as we head into the couple weeks vacation here coming up.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there are a lot of issues, and so the marine parks are, by the very virtue of what they're dealing with, quite complicated in all the variety of areas they need to cover. And I think perhaps the most exciting or the most useful way for people to really get an understanding of what rules apply and where they apply is to look at the Cayman Department of Environment's app. We've developed this app that goes on a smartphone, both Android and iOS, and you can download that from either I think it's Google Play or the App Store, or just go to the DOE website and you can find the links to it there. It's called Cayman DOE, I think, and once it's installed on your phone, it integrates with your GPS or the cellular network, so that it'll show you where you are in relation to the island. And it's updated, so if you're on a boat moving, it'll show you moving through the different zones. But it's interactive. You can click on it and see what rules apply where you are at. So it's really useful. And there's also just a general summary of the rules. There's a page where you can just browse through and educate yourself. There is a lot of rules out there now, unfortunately, so it's difficult to kind of tell all of them in one go, but the app is certainly the most relevant way of finding out what applies to you at the time, the season, the location, the limits, the species that you're dealing with. It's all on there, and it's
the species that you're dealing with. I mean, if I get a picture of a fish, I can actually somehow the app will.
Sorry, no. Well, we haven't gone that far yet.
I need that help.
But when I say species, if you're catching the certain species, the season limits or catch limits, or closed seasons for various species. Sure. And then there's size limits for some. We're not allowed to catch things under 8 inches, but that doesn't apply to sprats. It's all quite complicated. So,
who actually designs at this part here? Who actually says this is okay within this size limit, but not this size limit for this species? And
okay, so this is all the kind of research that Croy's talked about doing, and we've done a lot of science that goes into informing the decisions and the reasons. But having said that, there is also a huge amount of public consultation that went into the marine protected areas. Okay. People would say if DOE had our way, we'd shut the entire island down. And while that might work as a strategy, obviously it wouldn't work for the island as a whole.
Might be some pushback.
Yes.
Possible.
So the public consultation has come a lot into it. So we set out to design a set of marine parks based on criteria that protected a certain amount of the area, certain amount of fish biomass, species, what they needed. And then we took that to the public to say, hey, ideal world, this is what we'd like to do. And of course, everyone weighed in or actually had, additional information. Well, that's incorrect. It would be better to do it here. And all of that was taken on board under 3 or 4 very extensive public consultation processes. And so there was a middle ground arrived at where not everybody was happy, but some, we were able to take into account a lot of the public concerns of the enhanced marine parks. And I think we arrived at a pretty happy medium. We've got, 50% of the coastal shelf bay of the nearshore habitat out to 150-foot water depth in no-take reserves, which is, as Croy says, that's the ideal that you want to go for. You can't take anything out of it. There are other managed areas where you can. We have line fishing zones, which are for fishermen to benefit from the no-take zones. You can't take anything else out there, but you are able to go line fishing in those areas. And then we also, this time round, took on board the impact that the diving industry potentially has on reefs. So we have no diving areas. We have the areas where Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so there were previously no diving areas, but they were for fishermen on the north side. So that was to do with the user conflict issue. But we've now introduced no diving areas as a conservation tool. So there's basically no impact from diving either. So fishermen and divers are separated in some instances, and or the impacts of those things are managed in specific zones.
Just from the understanding of, so with the no fishing, there was a replenishment issue and the concern of just leaving the fish, let them do their thing. What was the thought process behind the no diving zone?
So any activity on a reef is likely to have an impact, and there's been documented evidence that diving on a reef does have but you can't help but sometimes brush against the reef or disturb the fish that are there. So we just wanted to have these areas that were really set aside from any kind of disturbance. The environmental zone, which is in the Little Sound in the North Sound, was our very first kind of no interaction zone. Literally, you're not allowed to get in the water there, and you went through at 5 miles an hour or less. And it was supposed to be zero disturbance, and it was also part of a continuity idea, ecological continuity with mangrove coastlines going through seagrass, going out to the reef, then out to the open ocean, which is a typical kind of Caribbean ecosystem connectivity thing that needs to be protected. So we didn't really have no impact zones outside of the environmental zone. So we needed some kind of more reef no impact zone. So that was the theory behind the no diving. And that's hugely controversial because the island has a lot of dive moorings and there's not a lot of space. So having to shut a few dive sites didn't go down very well. But we were able to negotiate with the diving community and come up with something that we hope works.
And I'm sure, just given that
getting back to it, Tim said about connectivity. Well, first of all, the Cayman Islands have a very narrow insular shelf. I mean,
what does that mean?
Where the productive area, which means from like the shoreline to the drop off, we call it the 80 or 90 foot contour. I mean, I think the furthest one is like on the eastern tips of the island, which is about 1,500 feet, 500 meters. And the narrowest one, I think, is by Northwest Point, where it's less than 200 meters. It's very close, a couple of 100 feet before you reach a shelf. That's our productive area for our reef fisheries, predominantly. And a lot of times you look out there and we see an endless look because you look towards the horizon. But that just ends right out in front of you. Sure. But talking about connectivity, as Tim mentioned, all fish have a larval stage. They don't born big. I guess you want to say that. But having said that, I put it in simple terms a lot of times with people where we have the nursery areas and stuff where the small fish sort of spend a fair bit of their time there. I always say consider the mangroves as when you were a baby in a crib. You have just think of the little spars around its mangrove roots and stuff for protection and stuff. And then the seagrasses that we have, just thinking about in North Sound, is when you're like a toddler and starting to explore. And then when you're tween or preteen, then you're in the back reef environment led by sandbar. Yep. And then when you're a teenager, you're out on the shallow terrace, 30-foot contour, the coral edge and stuff. When you're an adult, you're out on the deep reef, which is the drop off like 80 feet or so. Any disruption in your life cycle as humans along that thing, same thing with fish, is going to have an impact on whether you're alive or dead, I guess you could say.
No, you're absolutely right.
So if we nurture and protect or manage these areas, that we have that transition from mangrove to the deep shelf with any species, we are headed in the right direction. And that's where the connectivity comes in. And then the fact that our marine parks was also, as Tim mentioned about the consultation with the general public, there's a big social aspect that went into this whole concept of having the right protected areas for Grand Cayman.
Sure.
And, compliance is 50% of it.
Before we jump into the whole compliance conversation, we have to go to 1 p.m. headline news. When we come back, I do want to jump into that compliance conversation and reiterate that connectivity, because I think you summed up that analogy quite well, and the drop-off in the deep end was a great analogy for adulthood. Perfectly. Very well said. On that note, let's go to our 1 p.m. headline news.
You got to reproduce.
Back with our 1 p.m. headline news.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The deadline to apply for the Water Authority wastewater COVID-19 discount for commercial customers is December 31st, 2021. The discount is on wastewater bills for the period of April 2020 to September 2021. Requests should be submitted to info@waterauthority.ky. In international news, the Queen has cancelled her traditional pre-Christmas lunch for extended family as a precautionary measure following the UK's surge in Omicron cases. It follows England Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty's advice to prioritise events that really matter to avoid the risk of infection. The event had been due to take place early next week at Windsor Castle. The Dutch royal family has expressed regret over last week's birthday party for their heir apparent to the country's throne amid surging COVID cases. The family said 21 guests, all vaccinated and tested, attended Princess Amalia's 18th birthday party in the Palace Gardens last Saturday. The guests were also required to follow social distancing, but King Willem-Alexander later admitted that the party was not appropriate. The Netherlands is currently under strict coronavirus restrictions after the country saw a surge in cases in November. Bruce Springsteen has sold the master recordings and publishing rights for his life's work to Sony for a reported $500 million. The deal gives Sony ownership of his 20 studio albums, including classics like Born to Run, The River, and Born in the USA. A 20-time Grammy winner, Springsteen's music generated about $15 million in revenue last year. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert available for limited time at all Subway locations. Subway. Eat fresh.
The technology sector is forecast to be one of the fastest growing industries in the next decade, with more jobs available than skilled people to fill them. Enterprise Cayman is helping to fill this void and grow the next generation of Caymanian innovators, giving young people access to high-quality learning experiences with the opportunity to pursue careers in technology and innovation sectors. Learn to code, how product development works, enter professional competitions, access high-tech resources, network with special economic zone industry professionals, and much, much more. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to find out more. Brought to you by Cayman Enterprise City.
Watch and listen to win big this Christmas with a Digicel Prime bundle. Stream all the music you want in the music. Binge Christmas movies in PlayGo. Watch NBA games in Sportsmax, all while on the go without using any of your data. That's more entertainment, more data, plus more chances to win from thousands of prizes. Enter to win the grand prizes of $10,000 cash, $5,000 cash, or a Digicel family pack with 4 smartphones and free service for a year. Claim your guaranteed prize every Saturday. Buy a 7-day Prime Plus bundle for $20 today. Digicel, better together this Christmas.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubus Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubus. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fill up at Jose's Rubus, you're entered to win weekly prize giveaways, plus a grand prize of $20,000 in cash or up to $30,000 to pay next year's bills. Ensure that you are healthy and fit before you visit with family and friends. Reflections offers 2 lateral flow test kits for only $10. The best KN95 masks, $5 for 2. Stylish black surgical masks are only $5 for a pack of 10. Purchase Reflections gift certificates for your loved ones and enter to win the Rubus Pure Joy promotion at Jose's Rubus.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and grateful for an extended time frame here with our fans from the DOE, discussing the marine parks and mention of the new DOE Cayman app, which gives you the full rundown of all the regulations that come into play depending on where you might be in Cayman, or rather in Cayman waters. And again, Tim, if you can just walk our listeners through the benefits of that app again, a little more detailed than I just gave it.
Yeah, I mean, as you point out, it's very complicated. There's a lot of rules out there. A lot of boundaries have changed. We had parks since 1986, and most people were aware where they were. Though a lot of those boundaries haven't changed, but the rules inside may have changed. So you need to basically get familiar with them, and there's a lot to take on board. And the app really is the easiest way to do it. It's fun and interactive, and you can spend some time getting used to looking at just the area that your fishing area or your backyard or your shoreline that you go to, rather than working through a rule and trying to see if it then applies to the area where you go.
Sure.
So it is straightforward. It works obviously on cellular data, so you need to have your data on if you're out, but if you're at home and you're on the Wi-Fi, it works just fine there for free. All
right. Thank you. No, and so for all the listeners, especially all those fishermen out there, anyone who enjoys being out on or in our waters, DOE Cayman DOE.
I would go for it's not just fishermen. Obviously, there's no diving.
No diving as well.
Any recreational water user would benefit from this. Even beachgoers, it's nice to know what you can and can't do on 7 Mile Beach, for instance.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Everyone thinks it's free fall.
Yeah,
you do whatever you want. Just pull on up to the beach and off you go.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No. It's so there you go. Cayman DOE. Just go to the website. You can download the app or the Apple Store or Google Play Store and check out that Cayman DOE app. Corey, jumping back to you again. For the break, we were briefly discussing the analogy you used was perfect. With the mangroves being the cradle and the birthing spot, and as you venture closer to the reef before you hit the drop off of adulthood, that's the cycle of life for those fish, and why it's so important that we actually protect that cycle so that we can continue to have these fish as adults.
Yeah.
If you don't mind just elaborating again on that and that continuity factor.
No, it's hard for most of us to grasp the life history strategies of these animals. More so fish.
Sure.
Because, for all we know, they just come in size classes that we catch on the reef and stuff. But anyone that, snorkel in shallow areas and stuff, they can see the progression in size classes as they get deeper out onto the reef. And the fact that we don't really grasp it, as I said, I try to put it in the context of being from a baby to when you're an adult. And that transition is from the crib to when you're an adult and married, kids and stuff. Same thing applies with the fish, from mangrove seagrasses, patch reef, back reef, shallow terrace, deep terrace. And when you reach out there, as I mentioned, that's when you're at that reproductive status where you contribute back to the population, much like we do, as adults, as parents. And that is a phenomenon that we have to keep intact for the reasons that the disruption in that has a far-reaching impact on fish populations and stuff around these islands. In the marine parks, I'll try to tie that in a little bit with when we first started to work on the Nassau groupers, as we tried to understand the biology and ecology of the animal and how to proactively manage it. And the one population that we had left in Lower Cayman, and at first there was a lot of kickback and stuff as we tried to get all the work done. But 15 years on, people, at least in the sister island I've spoken to, a lot of them are very appreciative of what we did, because they can take their kid, or they can go during open season and fish off a shoreline, catch a Nassau grouper, or in Little Cayman and Brack. Sure. And I hope someday down here too. But all of this takes time. You don't disrupt any biological system and fix it overnight. It takes a lot of science, understanding, and then application, and then compliance for it all to work. And it just seems that took a while to work. And I still always reach out and thank all the folks in the sister islands for giving us the time to put this management plan together for Nassau grouper. Same applies to the marine protected areas. We can put anything in place, but it takes time to work. And part of that working mechanism is compliance from the public. And I'm hoping that, going forward, we can all look back in 10, 15 years and be happy that we did this and be thankful for what we have.
Very well said, and I think that's, if there's any point I can take away from that one, is that there's that patience game you have to have. Yeah. It's just like raising a child. You don't give birth today and they go off to college tomorrow. It feels like that when they go off to college. At the end of the game, you're kind of like, where did 18 years go? Yeah. But in the moment, the reality is it does take years to regenerate populations, especially when we're talking about the mix of life that happens under the sea that we don't see on a daily basis. On that note, we do have one quick call. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your guests. I'd like to thank them for their tireless work over the years from the 1980s. Mr. Austin, Scientist Austin and Dr. Croy, your work has been remarkable. I'd also like to commend you for your scholarship, considering the returns in terms of money is nowhere commensurate with what you deliver in quality assurance to our community regarding preservation of what really matters to the next generation. Your efforts concerning the containment of that coral disease is remarkable. We're a little scared because we know the everlasting effects if it gets away and gets out of hand. I would also like to ask you about microplastics and its impact on us and the longliner fishermen who have wreaked havoc on our fish stock and our turtle survivability. And I'd also like to ask you whether you are planning to use drone technology to help to assist you with your ongoing efforts to make sure that our natural history, marine history, is preserved into perpetuity. Thank you.
Caller, thank you so much. Wow. Dr. Croy, 3 big questions for you.
I was going to say thank you very much for the very kind words as well.
There's some very
thank
kind
you,
words.
sir. I appreciate the kind words from you. And microplastics, that is, well, for one, as humans, we've been using the ocean as a dumping ground from day one, and as anything else, that it'll soon come back to bite us all globally. And it can be found from foods we buy in the supermarket to just about anywhere. Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, we really only control out to the 12-mile limitation within Cayman, and that limits us with any form, fashion of controlling the long lining of vessels.
This is a grey area. This is a good set of questions, actually, because the National Conservation Law does, in fact, define Cayman waters now as areas that we have jurisdiction over, which is theoretically out to they use the term EEZ, which is exclusive economic zone, which we share border with Cuba, with Jamaica, and with Honduras. Only the Honduras border has been agreed. We're still in negotiations with the area between Jamaica and between Cuba. So once those are established, we'll have a better handle on it. But I can say that with regards to long lining, it's something I personally don't know a lot about, but I have heard that there are boats out there. I'm sure people on island know about it. But Croy's right. Traditionally, it's been outside of the jurisdiction and certainly outside of the department's resources to be able to go out there and investigate this. The advent of the Coast Guard now, the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, I think is the kind of, they're going to have increased capacity to do much broader surveys on that. But interestingly, and quite relevant, is the Cayman Islands have been invited to join a program that's run by the UK government called Blue Belt. So basically all the overseas territories around the world are enhancing their marine parks and joining them together to form this kind of very large global marine reserve. They're all connected, but all managed under the Blue Belt program. And part of that program is to give the territories resources to deal with issues, and one of the big issues that a lot of the territories face is exactly that. They call it IUU fishing, which is illegal, unregulated or unreported fishing by these very large commercial factory ships. Now, I don't know how many of those operate in the Caribbean, but they largely are little countries to themselves, and they're wreaking havoc around the world on areas that are not managed efficiently. And so Cayman's going to join that program, hopefully, and that does use satellite technology to monitor the movement of boats. And they have certain algorithms that can pick up interesting activity or activity that's likely associated with long-line fishing, and then they can investigate it. So we're looking forward to that. So that is an issue that is likely to become more relevant in the future. And then, again, the use of drone technology. We're very fortunate at DOE to be well-resourced. We use drones a lot. We fly drones mostly for terrestrial work, but we also fly it for nearshore marine work. So we use that to do a lot of our kind of detailed habitat classification, habitat mapping. And drones are really an important resource. But I also, thanks to the UK, I'm aware that we're just at the moment shooting LiDAR. So that's a laser method of really detailed mapping of the land height, but also this laser has the ability to penetrate the seafloor down to about 30 meters, about 100 feet. So we're going to have extremely accurate maps of the seabed, and that's going to go a long way to helping us understand, the kind of resources that are out there, and more accurate charts, prevent ship groundings, all these kind of things that are useful. So there's a lot going on through the UK support, but certainly that, as Croy rightly pointed out, it used to be that the territorial waters only extended to 12 nautical miles, and that was kind of our focus. But hopefully moving forward we'll be able to... I think you've voluntold the Coast Guard they have to cover the rest. Well, we'll come with them if they'll help us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We do have to shave off this segment now, but I genuinely appreciate you've been very generous with a lot of the information you've shared today. Again, for our listening public and for anyone who enjoys our waters, whether you just like going to the beach, boating, fishing, diving, Cayman, DOE, the app. It'll give you all the updates on the rules, the regulations, and it's sensitive to where you actually physically are in our water system. So it'll move with you and give you all the up-to-date knowledge. One quick tip I will point out, there's some interesting apps I've seen around, or drone apps that they've had, or drone pages where they've showed the jurisdictions have these young kids go out, and it's like part-time jobs, and they fly these drones just to follow the fish around, the sharks around, and they're live streaming it so the world can actually see what's going on. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. It's actually really cool to see the sharks, and they've named the sharks, and they follow them throughout the daytime, and because there's drones following, the fishermen aren't really going after any of the areas, but it's an interesting one. It's default enforcement. It's default enforcement, but it's also a revenue generator. They're actually making money off their online sources because so many people on the world want to tune in and see what the shark's doing out in Sydney and I can imagine. It's a really interesting technology that's out there. But gentlemen, thank you so much again. All the best for the Christmas season. Hopefully you get off the island a little more in 2022. I'm home. You're home. You're happy. On that note, thank you so much again, and thank you. Enjoy the rest of the holidays. We'll be back with more Talk Today right after this.
In 1895, the ship the Prince Frederick wrecked on the south coast of Cayman Brac, carrying the young sailor Samuel Sidney Saunders. Saunders would later choose to remain in the sister islands, eventually marrying into a Caymanian family. Although not highly educated himself, Saunders was instrumental to the education system of the sister islands, having taught in both Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. He would start a private school in Little Cayman, was district constable of the sister islands, and opened a school in State Bay following the 1932 storm. In the 1930s, the school was attended by Captain Charles Kirkernel. Ironically, Captain Kirkernel's father attended Saunders School in Little Cayman a generation earlier.
Jingle bell, pick up your feet. Christmas shopping at Le Classic cannot be beat. Quality style, luggage and leather, shoes that make you feel like you're walking on feathers. So step on in before stepping out. Come see what your friends are all talking about. We're here at the Strand, it's the season of cheer. Christmas time is here.
Merry Christmas from Le Classique. Come see us in the Strand, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It is the season of giving, and there is no better place to shop than Penha Perfume, MAC Cosmetics, and Victoria's Secret. Check out our Christmas gifts and collections at amazing prices. Plus, when you sign up for the Penha loyalty card, get 3% back on all your purchases. And while you shop, enter raffles to win major prizes of up to $5,000. Penha, MAC, and Victoria's Secret on 40 Cardinal Avenue, Georgetown. Merry Christmas.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Here we are gifted with presents, standing in a space denied many. In gratitude to the gift that Christmas is, this very, very special time of year, this time of reflection, celebration, fellowship, mindful of our blessings, mindful of the empty chairs, the precious spaces, the giving of gifts, sharing from steaming pots, making a difference to the many around us in need. Understanding this specialness, these Cayman Islands feel cool breeze, massaging silver thatched leaves, shimmering in moonlit night, December Cayman. Food, fellowship, worship, in awe of sunsets, the beach, the children. Rotary Club Central, where community service is our ethos. We serve to change lives. Wishing you a delightful, safe, and magical holiday season.
Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale is back for 2 days only, Friday, December 17th and Saturday, December 18th. Save big with up to 50% off select carpet and tiles. Wall and floor tiles as low as $10 a box. Universal mats from as low as $5 a pair. And up to 15% off many more items. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale, Friday, December 17th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, December 18th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Followed by the Children's Christmas Party at Spot Bay Park from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac, located at 342 Spot Bay Road. Call 948-2665.
More than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpets.
Ho, ho, ho. Christmas season is here.
Prospect residents, in the spirit of Christmas, the Office of the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turnham, invites you to a Christmas family giveaway on Saturday, December the 18th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. while supplies last. Mask and voter IDs will be required. Join your community and stop by the constituency office at number 33 Marina Drive, Prospect, on Saturday, December the 18th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. to pick up your Christmas gift while supplies last. For more information, call 746-9314.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio from Coca-Cola, Mr. Derry Rivers. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Ray. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, last time we had you in studio, we were showcasing these new fancy cans that Coca-Cola has.
Yes. That was a good time.
That was a great time.
That was a great time. Actually, a year ago.
A year ago this month. Yeah. It's amazing how fast the year flew by.
Yes. We've been very busy. We've been working on a lot of things, and we're excited to kind of be at the end of 2021 again. Another interesting, roller coaster of a year, and here we are ready to launch our second annual Coca-Cola Christmas Parade.
So before we jump into the parade, tell me a bit about your year, personally, outside of Coca-Cola.
Sure.
How was 2021 for you?
For me as an individual?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Can you remember 2021? Because most people can't. It flew by like that.
Yeah, I mean, it did fly by. I mean, the year started off, as you know, the island was wide open. We were doing what we wanted to do, and we just got to that point where COVID started to become more of a thing here, trying to open the borders. It's just me trying to adjust and manage my own mental health and make sure that we're all safe, and will quarantine be a thing? Will all these things return? Just managing that was kind of like the first initial thoughts that I had, and then fortunately the government pulled together and managed to do what they did up until this point. Here we are in December, still able to function. We're able to sit in this room together and have a conversation.
We are.
So it could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. I'm grateful that we're not in any worse case scenario than
exactly.
It could have gone a lot worse. That's the reality of it.
Just grateful. That's the word and the answer. Yeah.
So 2022 then. Any New Year's resolutions? Have you planned out that far ahead?
I'm not a resolution kind of guy. I'm constantly trying to just evolve through the year, and just as an individual, I don't believe in resolutions.
I'm not
personally.
a resolution kind of guy.
No. I think you're always trying to have a resolution of sorts when you're moving around.
Do it by month.
Exactly, or by day. Small things. Attainable goals.
It's a journey. It's small marginal steps, right?
Exactly.
They add up to the big journey.
Exactly.
You got it. You nailed it. You dialed in. So we have our second annual Coca-Cola Parade.
That's right.
Tell us about the first year.
Yeah, so the first year, as you know, Coca-Cola is all about Christmas and all about connectivity with people. I mean, a lot of brands will say that, but I mean, we really, really are. And especially for me as an individual, it's very important for me to be able to give back in some way. So again, very grateful to be a part of this team, to be able to do this. And last year, we came to the point where, we need to do something special, especially being in the midst of it last year. COVID was very much the thing. We managed to do the Coca-Cola Cayman can launch, which you just talked about. And then we said, we need to do something big to kind of top it off, hence the parade. And last year it started off on a slightly smaller scale. We pulled it together very quickly and very efficiently, and we were very proud of that event, and everybody was super excited about it. All the residences up until November of this year, we're getting calls and texts saying, hey, are you guys doing this? Are you guys doing this? So that anticipation has been there. And here we are, round 2, ready to go, bigger and better. A lot more partners involved, including you guys, which we're excited about.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah. So, I cannot complain. It's been a wild ride, and it's been all positive. Yeah.
That's great. So last year, you mentioned it was a smaller route pulled together, relatively short notice.
Yeah.
Where did you go last year?
So last year we kind of started off around the West Bay dock area, kind of where Alfresco Silver Sands is. Then we went out straight through on the main road, so on the 7 Mile Beach side, just so everybody can see us. As much visibility as possible, obviously, is the goal. And we went straight through Windsor Park, which was a huge hit. And then we ended up right in the South Sound area last year as well. Massive exposure we got from people. A lot of people were super excited, especially in Windsor Park area. You know, there's a lot of kids in there that really felt the impact in a positive way. Sure, yeah. And it was such a delight to see that.
How often does Santa come through on a
exactly
truck?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
your own version of Santa, right?
Exactly. I mean, we had our own fleet for him, and it was great.
So the tricky part is now, like in 5 years, you can see this thing becoming like this massive evolution of a parade, right?
Right.
Everyone trying to jump involved, and and they're gonna be like saying, no, we can't. Too many cars now.
Of course. And I guess I'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the more, the merrier. You know, pun intended. Bring it on. You know, we got a lot more people this year. The Jeep Club is involved. Jeep 345. AI. Keith Tibbetts. He's been an amazing partner for us, and he's putting everything on board for us to be able to support this event. And, you know, we're just, again, grateful is the word for me all day. And that's all I can say for as far as that's concerned. And I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
The dad in me felt good that you threw a pun out there just now.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard that one. I got that reference. The funniest one I saw, complete sidetrack, was don't forget to sanitize.
Yes.
And I was like, that's great for this time of year.
Right.
Because kids would love that.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and instead of saying, get the hand sanitizer.
No.
Hey, don't forget to sanitize.
Yeah, exactly.
And every 5-year-old's going to go, yay.
That's actually a good one. Is that patented yet?
It hasn't.
Oh, good. I'm taking it.
It's my gift to you.
Thank you, Ray.
Pun completely intended.
You're a nice guy.
All right, so this year now, it's Monday, December 20th.
Right.
Walk us through the route so all of our listeners know to get prepared and ready.
Yeah, so again, like we said last year, we mentioned before, it started off at the West Bay Public Beach. We're going to bring it back a little further this year, bound to our Turtle Farm location, which is a Tortuga store next to Macabuca. Main reason because we needed more space to have the abundance of cars we're going to have involved now. Looking at the Jeeps, our trucks, everyone else, the big AI trailer, it's going to be big. So we're starting from there. We're going to roll out straight through to the 4-way stop by Centennial and go straight on the main road all the way up to Windsor Park. We're going to roll through there. We're going to stop at Governor Square before, though, on the way up. So we have about 4 or 5 scheduled stops, and they will be complete stops where people will have a chance to take photos, interact with us. Santa will be giving out toys to the boys and girls, making sure everybody's taken care of. We have Coca-Cola for the adults. Everything will be all charity on Monday. We want to be able to support as much as we can, and we're going to end off at the South Sound Boardwalk, which is going to be effectively the dock to make as much space as possible. Obviously, we're going to be managing the crowds as much as well, given the obvious, which everybody will be asking that question, you know, regarding COVID-19 and everything.
The question right on now, because obviously we do have the Omicron situation going on now, and frazzled nerves throughout the community again. So we are taking as many precautions as we possibly can.
Right.
The COVID policies will be in place, social distancing.
Absolutely.
Santa's going to be throwing the gifts.
Absolutely. We'll try to avoid as much physical contact as possible for obvious reasons by default. The RCIPS will be there helping us, escort us through and make sure we can alleviate as much of that potential crowd stress as possible. Again, we're trying to make sure we're as tactful and take everything into consideration going through this because we want to make sure everybody's safe and happy and merry.
Keep bringing the puns into it.
There we go.
It works. So Monday we kick off. How are you starting off the event?
So very good question. We'll start at that same point again at our Tortuga store next to Macabuca. And if any West Bay residents or anybody that is in the mood for a road trip, I use that word loosely because it's Cayman. Everything is 5 minutes away. But if you want to come down to West Bay, we'll be setting up around 4:30, just giving out for about 40 minutes. Free Cokes and patties for everyone that want to hang out before and see us off. And literally what happened last year, people followed us from stop to stop on the route.
And the cars.
Feel free to do that. Join the fun. Obviously, just stay around the police. But if you want to follow us from stop to stop, the world's your oyster. Come on in. You know.
It's really cool. Like, it's actually a cool concept. You know, you can just like show up to West Bay, get a patty and a Coke, and then jump in a car parade. And
why not?
Hang out with Santa.
Why not? Especially this time of year. I mean, especially like all the roller coaster that we've had this year. We're at that place now where we can just kind of relax a little bit. That's the week of Christmas next week. Let's just have some fun and just do this thing properly. You know,
it's Monday night. There's no school.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids on Tuesday.
Exactly.
And it's kind of one of the cool things about it is that school's just coming out, right? So as soon as school closes, free patties and a Coke.
Exactly.
It's a fun start.
You're pulling all the words out of my mouth, right? It's perfect.
It's fun. I'm a kid at heart, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you talked to us about this, I went, sign me up.
Yeah.
I can't be Santa this year. I don't have the big white beard yet.
Right.
One day, and then I'll sign up. Then I'll fight your Santa to be Santa because I want to be Santa one day. So 4:30 kickoff, West Bay, by the Total Farm. Sorry,
Correct.
West Bay Dock.
Correct. Not the West Bay Dock. More think right next to Macabuca. We have our Tortuga store there.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to start. 4:30. Come out there, grab a Coke and a patty. 5:30 we will begin to roll out, and then we're going to be out till about 9 o'clock. And now we're very fortunate. Just to kind of get ahead of you on the Radio Cayman side, I know you guys are going to be there, and I will be announcing the stops ahead of time, roughly, 5 to 10 minutes, maybe less, maybe more. Yeah. And so anybody that's listening on that night, if you want to kind of follow where we're going, and if you want to kind of catch us at a stop, just make sure you listen to Radio Cayman from 5:30 to 9. They will be letting you know where to go.
All right, 5:30 to 9 o'clock, and then the finish up a South Sound.
Yes.
So the question for some of our Eastern District listeners, eventually we're going to see the evolution to the parade moving. And granted, this is your second year.
Of course.
So you're very new to it. We're lucky to even have 3 months ago. This was not even a conversation we could have because no one knew what was going to happen.
Correct.
So grateful that we have this opportunity for parade. When can we see this evolve to Prospect?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And obviously, we, as a Caymanian myself, I want to make sure that every Caymanian will have a chance to experience this. Obviously, we'll do what we can with the radio exposure to have people that want to come and join in and get closer to us in that area.
Sure.
But as the years go on, we're going to evolve this. And the goal, just like anything else that we do, is to go bigger and better every single year. And there will be a time when we will go that far and cover the whole island. No matter how we go about doing it, whether we do 2 separate parades or 1 long parade, we will do that because why not?
Yeah.
We want to be able to give that merry experience to everyone that's on island. Why not?
Absolutely.
And
it's great because it's this whole time of year, this themed event. We have our Pirates Week, we have our agriculture shows, very well timed, well placed events.
Right.
This one is got a whole different feel to it.
Yeah, and like you mentioned those events, and unfortunately they weren't able to happen this year, again, for the reasons we all know. I'm not going to bore you to death with that one.
Sure.
But to be able to pull this off, and again, the RCIPS has been super supportive, and they understand the nature of our event. We walk through it with them very, very specifically. They know exactly the nature of the event, so all the protocols are in place to make sure it's safe, and the fact that we can still get people together to some degree is all I can ask for at the end of this year.
Absolutely.
And how we can celebrate Coca-Cola and Christmas together.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And it's on a Monday night.
Exactly.
What parties from a kid, I've never been to a party on a Monday night.
No.
This is a Monday night parade.
Yeah. Again, we're innovators, man. We try to pioneer this in Tortuga.
It's a great initiative. As far as the music for anybody who's concerned about noise.
Sure.
Is there going to be music with the parade?
Yeah, we will have
carolers?
We won't have carolers, but we will have a DJ who's very popular. His name is Matt Banks. He'll be putting together a nice Christmas playlist for us.
Yeah.
Very family friendly. Volume will be what it is, and we hope that people will be able to appreciate what we're doing, and we're not going to be disrupting people to any serious amount. That's a fair question, though.
Yeah. I think I speak for the entire community that I think you should sing at some point.
I will see. We shall see.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in it.
We shall see. Double duty is not a problem for me.
Little jingle bells.
Yeah. I'll bring my guitar just in case. I'll keep it on the float just in case.
I think it'd be a nice touch at some point. I know right now the Tortuga family is listening, going, "Hey,
I know.
Look at that. Derry's gonna sing now."
Add
one more thing to the to-do list.
Yeah, I think I did one last year at Christmas at the Castle. A small song there, which was fun. But we never know. You never know.
Can you give us a taste of it on Radio Cayman?
Oh no, not today.
Not today. You gotta warm up that.
You gotta warm that voice up. She's laughing in the booth over there.
This was like I almost had you.
Anybody that's listening that knows I sing, I love you all, and you guys will hear me sing tomorrow at the Westin.
You sing tomorrow night at the Westin?
Yes.
All right. See, I gotta say the voice. All right.
There you go.
Good for you.
Yeah, I try.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Although if you sing on Monday, I'll be impressed. I'll give you a patty and a Coke if you sing.
I appreciate it.
All right, so a quick rundown then. So we have Monday night, December 20th. Who are your other sponsors that are involved again?
So we're just to kind of go through the sponsorship all together, we're partnering with AI Group. They're going to be providing the float for us, which is a huge appreciated support that they've given us. We have Radio Cayman, again, who I mentioned, who's going to be broadcasting live on Facebook and on the radio. Santa will be involved. Obviously, he's our number one partner. Can't go wrong with him. Jeep 345 will be bringing in a fleet of their Jeeps, which will be lit up to the highest degree. It's going to be awesome. We have one of our amazing partners here, again, DJ Matt Banks, who's going to be bringing all the tunes for us. So we're very happy about that. We're going to have a really cool video produced as well.
That's great.
Retina Group, Jason Kennedy, local artist. Yeah. He's fantastic on every aspect of what he does, and he has a great team that's going to be supporting us here on the night to get a great video to share afterwards. So that's everybody get a chance to see how it went. If you weren't able to go, we want to be able to have a chance for you to see it at some point on social media. Yeah.
I think he actually just donated a car to the Meals on Wheels drive.
Yeah, the Mercedes. Yeah. Meals for Wheels.
Meals on Wheels. Yeah. That's
and the video would actually come out on Christmas Day. So look out for that. Yeah, that will be coming out next Saturday.
Actually, you all did a video last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Where can the listeners...
It's a great question. If you want to take a look at that now, you go on Tortuga Wine and Spirits Instagram page, and you'll be able to see the throwback video from last year.
That's great. When I remember I saw it last year, it was such a well done... It was such a timely video for everything that we'd gone through at that point.
Right.
When I saw the video, it was like, this is a great feel-good video. And when I watched it again just a few weeks back, I went, Christmas is here. Like, this is how it feels.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's the vibe we're going for. I mean, this is a complete... I can't emphasize it enough. This is a community-driven event. We want to support the community just to bring that cheer and, again, that merry vibe to everyone. You know, ultimately, that's what it's about. And if we can't do that, then we're not doing our jobs, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's how I feel about it.
We'll enjoy this time of year. And so quick rundown again of the entire Monday night festivities, please.
Yeah, so again, 4:30, you can come by at the starting point, which is at the West Bay Tortuga location right next to Macabuca. Grab yourself a free Coke and a patty. You can see us roll out at 5:30. We're going to be going through the routes, stopping at West Bay Beach, straight to Governor Square, Windsor Park, Lions Center, Country Western parking lot will be one of the second to last stop. Then we end at South Sound Boardwalk by the dock. Flip-flop tree, dock, think that location to meet us. Sure. Again, we'll try to just urge everyone to try to be as safe as you can when you go to gather. We had a huge crowd last year. We didn't have the same concerns as we have to implement this year, so let's just please be safe. I want to encourage everyone to be as cognizant about that as possible and work with us, and we'll have people helping out at each stop marshalling. So just ask you to kindly please work with them to be as socially distant and safe as possible.
Absolutely.
Please.
It is again, to reiterate, it's a family fun event.
Yeah.
While Santa will be giving out presents to the boys and girls, please be cognizant that we can't be crowding around Santa. We can't be crowding and reaching in. It has to be a tame, and it's not tame is not the word I'm looking for, but it has to be tame.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, it has to be at least organized.
Yes.
So free patties and Coke up at West Bay. Are we doing patties at the other stops, or is that just...
No, that's just a starting point stop, just to kind of get a refresher, get your energy up before you roll out, and then we're going to go all the way to the end completely. That's it.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you heard it, listeners. And again, Radio Cayman will be broadcasting from the float.
Yes.
Throughout the entire festivities and announcing our stop. So if you just want to sit around at home and wait in the AC until you hear us, we'll be announcing the forthcoming stops, and come on out and grab your Santa presents, get some pictures with Santa.
That's it.
And and just hang out with your community. It's a fun way to spend a Monday night. I love it.
That's it. I mean, again, just before we go, I just want to thank the community for all your support for Tortuga, Coca-Cola. We cannot appreciate it enough, and thank you enough for everything you've done for us this year. And this is the reason why we're doing it, is to give back to you. So thank you again, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you. And if you do want to see the route again, you can visit Tortuga's Facebook page or Radio Cayman's Facebook page.
That is correct.
To check out the map with the route and all the info. Daryl, thank you so much again. We'll see you on Monday.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here again.
Thank you. On that note, we'll go to our 1:45 commercial break. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Kirk Freeport's $40,000 Christmas Sweepstakes is back. Once again, simply spend $100 at your favorite Kirk Freeport store, and you could win one of 3 $5,000 cash prizes, one of 5 $1,000 cash prizes, and many other great prizes throughout December. All purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. And don't forget the annual Kirk Freeport Rolex watch prize draw for all entries, held on January 4th. Full details on KirkFreeport.com. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
You can now register online to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the My HSA patient portal. Sign up is available online and at all HSA locations. All you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and an email address. Visit hsa.ky and click the My HSA patient portal icon to get started.
Merry Christmas from A.L. Thompson's. Shopping for your do-it-yourselfer is easy with tool belts, hand tools, power tools, and more. Select tools from superior brands like Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, and Stihl for drills, saws, and trimmers. Toolboxes and all kinds of gadgets are available under one roof. If you're not sure what he needs, then the perfect gift is an A.L. Thompson's gift card. It's available in any denomination and one size fits all. Nobody does Christmas like A.L. Thompson's.
Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale is back for 2 days only, Friday, December 17th and Saturday, December 18th. Save big with up to 50% off select carpet and tiles, wall and floor tiles as low as $10 a box, universal mats from as low as $5 a pair, and up to 15% off many more items. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale, Friday, December 17th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, December 18th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Followed by the Children's Christmas Party at Spot Bay Park from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac, located at 342 Spot Bay Road. Call 948-2665.
A lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpets.
Jingle bell, pick up your feet. Christmas shopping at Le Classique cannot be beat. Quality style, luggage and leather, shoes that make you feel like you're walking on feathers. So step on in before stepping out. Come see what your friends are all talking about. We're here at the Strand, it's the season of cheer. Christmas time is here.
Merry Christmas from Le Classique. Come see us in the Strand, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
The last show for 2021 will be on.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill, a mindless, eating machine. It will attack and devour anything.
The last show for 2021 will be on sharking, one of our industries.
So we had many industries. The sharking, we'll tell all about it.
Sure.
This Friday on Radio Cayman.
Let us see what I'm saying. Focusing on sharking.
We knew about the turtle industries, we talked about the phosphate industry, but we not talked about sharking industry. And that's what we're going to be talking about this Friday. So join us. Another Siwa Singh.
Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
This Friday,
12:15 to 2:30.
And we're going to try to sort out everything.
Last one for 2021.
Last one.
Sharking.
Join us.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And just about 9 minutes left in our show today before we go to our 2 p.m. COVID-19 press briefing. That is at 2 p.m. I do understand we had a caller on the line while the last guest was on. I would like to invite that caller to call back. I realized she had a few questions for us. But again, at just about 9 minutes, we're going to our 2 p.m. headline news and then the 2 p.m. press briefing. I do want to say thank you again to our two guests so far on the show. The last one, Mr. Dario Rivers from Coca-Cola, and the upcoming Christmas truck parade. Last year was their first one, and I would encourage all of our listeners to just jump on the internet, go to YouTube or go to the Tortuga website, and just check out the fun video from last year, because it truly was just a fun, atmospheric video of what Christmas can be and that feeling that we feel at Christmas time. And again, the 2021 Christmas Truck Parade is this coming Monday, the 20th, from 5:30 to 9. So a sizable parade starting in West Bay at 5:30 and finishing down at South Sound. And as you heard Dario say just now, its route weaves its way through Windsor Park, wrapping up at the South Sound dock area. I guess allow for more space for crowds to gather in that range. One important note that Dario did emphasize was we do recognize the current state in the community right now with COVID. So social distancing is an important scenario. Even though Santa will be giving out gifts for the kids, we do ask that the community is respectful of their fellow neighbor when they congregate near the trucks. Again, they'll be starting at 4:30 p.m. at the West Bay Dock, giving out patties and Cokes. And then at 5:30, the parade kicks off. And all cars, if you're up there and you want to join in the parade and join in the festivities, by all means, come on down. We've heard the level of videos that they're going to be taking and the sponsors from AI Rental, Matt Banks and Jason Kennedy and his work to produce the video afterwards. So again, a big thank you to Coca-Cola, and as we heard him say as well, Radio Cayman will be broadcasting live from the float, announcing the stops as we approach them, so you can bring your kids out to meet Santa and get a picture with Santa. And it's on a Monday night, which I think is just absolutely amazing. And again, to the DOE, who was here earlier in the show, and very similar to the DEH, or the Department of Environmental Health, that we had on yesterday. Both of these groups operate really out of sight. We don't see a lot of the work that DOE does, but we know they're doing a lot of work to maintain and to help correct some imbalances that we've seen out in the oceans. And much like the EHS, who operates very much in the shadows, and we don't see the work that they do until they stop doing it. DOE is very much like that. The day DOE stops doing the efforts and putting the efforts in that they put in, we will start seeing real consequential damage as a result of it. And so we've seen that what they came on today to announce was, one, the update with regards to the Stony Coral and the work that they are doing, and the antibiotic work being implemented with the Stony Coral to help mitigate those issues. And then as well, the 2021 Enhanced Marine Park Systems becoming a reality. I'm just going to read through some of the notes here on the park rules while we have a few minutes left in our segment today. Cayman's enhanced marine parks contain line fishing zones, which means no taking of conch, lobster, etc., no spear, guns, or fish pots, but you can fish by hand, line, or rod and reel from the shore or a boat. The marine reserve zones now extend from the shore to 150 feet deep, and I believe Mr. Tim called them the contour lines. This provides a continuum of protected marine habitats, including mangrove, seagrass, and fringed reefs, as well as habitats out to and including the top of the deep shelf wall. Protecting small fish in the shallows, foraging areas, and the reefs habitats these fish need to survive. Healthy fish populations mean a healthy marine environment for everyone. And this is looking at it from, as Dr. Croy mentioned, we won't see those results today and tomorrow. We'll see those results in 15 years. And as you mentioned, the improvement that they've seen in the groupers out in the sister islands as a result of these measures that were taken 10, 15 years ago to really sustain those populations. Cayman's enhanced marine parks contain marine reserve zones, which means no taking of any marine life, alive or dead, from boat or the shore, except for catch and release for bonefish and tarpon by permit. Sprats and fries can be netted from shore in a marine reserve or lined fishing zone, but only up to 2.5 gallons per person per day. Marine reserves and lined fishing zones only allow anchoring of boats less than 60 feet in length and no damage of the coral when you're doing so. The environmental zone remains unchanged in the enhanced marine park systems, which means no fishing, no in-water activity, no anchoring or tying up to the mangroves, 5 miles per hour speed limit, and this is towards protecting the nursery of the North Sound. No wildlife interaction, fish feeding, handling marine life, etc., outside of wildlife interaction zone unless fishing or otherwise permitted. The spawning aggregation overlay zones protect the grouper holes, areas used by other species, not just a Nassau grouper, for spawning throughout the year from December 1st to April 30th. No fishing, anchoring, or in-water activity between 50 to 200 feet depths. Vessels may anchor in marine park zones during a declared state of emergency, during the currency of hurricane warning, or when the port director gives permission to a specific vehicle in emergency circumstances. Line fish removal is allowed in marine park zones for persons with a line fish permit. The permits do not include the environmental zone, north side no dive zones, or spawning aggregation zones. Again, as the gentleman from the DOE mentioned, they do have a new app which summarizes everything I've just talked about and so much more, because there is such a diversity of regulations out there pertaining to where you are on the island, the various zones that you might be in, and related to what fish are actually out in the water at that time, where you can anchor, where you can dive, etc. So I do encourage everyone in the community who enjoys our beaches, enjoys our waters, to jump on to either the DOE website or the Apple or Google Play Store and download the Cayman DOE app. It'll help you and save you a lot more efforts in trying to make sure that you're within the regulations, because these have come into effect. And some of these are in effect from December 1st, and some have come into effect from April of this year. And it'll just really help guide you so you don't have to play the guessing game of guessing whether you're within the regulations or not. Again, we will be going to our 2 p.m. headline news in just another minute or so, followed by the 2 p.m. press briefing today. On that note, we do want to call it a wrap for today's show, and thanks to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation, our guests from the Department of Environment, and from Coca-Cola, and of course, Miss Susan Watson. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, thank you for sharing your afternoon with us. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a fantastic rest of your Thursday.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.